Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Be Smart Weekly Podcast. We have a bad run for guests. Our guest this week also couldn't make it. He had some problems at the storm in California, so we're going to try and get him back sometime in the near future. But we got the rest of the crew here. We got Antnee.
What's up, people?
Hey. We got over there Yappy.
Oi, mates! It's glad to see you again.
And then we got, I don't know where he's come from. JP.
Hey, how y'all are?
Last but certainly not least is our favorite shake junkie, shall we?
What's up, gentlemen?
There it is. All right. Well,
And later.
today's going to be a good day. Good weather outside. I know over here, lots of people are seeing bees active. Lots of people are getting things ready to go. I know I've been talking to Antnee fellas, and he's getting himself ready. He's getting more excited about it. He's going to start his beekeeping this spring. And just kind of curious, Antnee, where you stand? Anything you're looking? Questions, ideas? Where's your head at right now?
Well, where's my head at? That's pretty funny. As far as beekeeping goes, we'll go there. As far as beekeeping goes, I am wondering. Okay, I've got my boxes, like podcast or the videos that we posted. I got my 2 hives, and I only got 2. From Dayton, we went down to Sioux City last week, picked those up. So other than waiting for bees, and I got all the gear I needed with it, the bee brush, hive tool, smoker, I got the whole kit. Now, other than waiting for bees, what else do I need to be considering now as we get closer? I mean, I know you guys down south are already working with your bees, but for getting my first bees, I'm looking at another 6-8 weeks away. So what should I be doing?
You only have 2 boxes?
Yeah, I bought 2 to begin with.
2 hives.
2 hives. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yes.
But I'm confused. You're purchasing 2 packages or nukes, right? And you have all your woodenware, though, extra boxes and all that to put them in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because one is an expandable with the 2 supers that comes with 2 supers, and one is just the 2 bottom boxes.
Okay, good. Yeah, a lot of new people get started, they get excited, and they have the mentality, okay, I'm going to put bees in a box, and then the bees build up and they're about to boil out, and then they realize, or somebody tells them, hey, you need to add another box, and so on. And then they're backpedaling, purchasing new woodenware, putting together, having it. So glad you're ahead of the game and ready to go.
Okay, cool.
Well, I know you and I have been working on talking about having a plan ready. And I know you've put some work into it already. Where are you on your plan in sort of setting it up? I mean, I know you got your hardware now that fits into there. Where have you started doing any more prep on the getting it assembled or painted, or where are you along that plan?
Okay, as you guys know, but people listening may not know, I'm going to be moving to Virginia. So I'm going to have hives in Virginia as well as here in Nebraska. Now, after class last night, some of the things that were said as far as the 10 frame being more forgiving now and the nukes, I see the benefits of the separate ones, the different type of hives. So with me being in Virginia and going to be spending less time actually in Virginia and not being able to babysit bees, because what I'm learning is it's a lot more involved than putting bees in the box, like you said, JP. So that I can give my bees in Virginia the right amount of time, I'm going to take the 10 frames that I bought and put those out there. Now, I was fortunate last night, a firefighter I know, he noticed me. I put up a video when me and Tony opened up his Lucy, 4-year-old queen. We opened her up, and that was kind of exciting for me. But he saw that, my firefighter friend, he saw that, and he offered me his hives because he said he had like 5 hives and additional boxes. So that's, depending on what he has, that's probably what I'll use here. So I'll have a couple of nukes out, or a couple of hives in Virginia, but the ones that I have to tend to more, I think I'll use here, because especially because we had talked about also getting local feral bees when we do cutouts this spring. Well, those are the ones that, from what I've gathered, are going to need the most hands-on. So those obviously are going to keep here because they have the genetics for here. So that's where my plan is going right now.
Okay. Have you picked out your spot, Virginia? And have an
Did
idea?
you call me Virginia?
If the shoe fits. Have you picked out your spot and thought about what type of stand you want to put your hives on and things like that? We could probably talk about that since you just kind of get into this.
As far as in Virginia, no, I have not. My plan is, while I'm out there, because I'm going to be out there for several weeks, while I'm out there, is I'm going to get in contact with their bee club, if they have one, and just kind of see what they're doing out there and what's been working out there. No need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, good. That's a good idea, and it could maybe show you some options and things like that. Obviously, when you're picking a bee yard or a spot in a bee yard, you want good access, obviously. Stand needs to be stable. A lot of people down here, they purchase a nuke, and I might even deliver a hive set up, something like that, and I get to their yard and they have a bunch of bricks piled up, and they want to put the hives on bricks. And our ground here is not that stable, and this hive might get into 5-6 boxes at some point, and they get heavy, and then the bricks shift, and they ends up being crooked. So just a consideration, make sure you have a nice stable setup that can displace that weight properly. Maybe have your and you probably evaluated this already. It's better to have your hives where they're tilted slightly forward than back, and if you're using solid bottoms, okay.
Right, to allow the water to drain out.
Right. So,
is there a certain angle, or a certain degree that it should be at?
Not really. Just a little bit. Just if you use
just a little bit.
Yeah, that's all you need. What I normally do is I'll set them up, and I'll use 4x4 or my main bee yard. I got access to a lot of big PVC pipe, and I'll take like a 1x2 or something. I'll use it like as a shim. And it's
okay. Yeah, that's easy enough.
When I set the stand up, it's just got a slight lean to it, so just keep that water running out.
Yeah, I got a slight lean to me too, so
yeah,
that works.
We all do.
Okay, as far as the stand goes, Yappy, I mean, is there a specific height, or is it, because I've got a bad back, and if the less I can avoid bending, the better.
What do y'all want to?
Well, I ended up. Scott Derrick out at Blythewood Bee Company ended up showing me a stand that he made. What he did was he goes to the to your local supply store, and he buys treated 1x8 timbers that are 8 foot long, and it takes 3 of them. Well, if you can picture a stand, what it basically does is 2 of those are your length runners that you would set the stands on. The third one, if you measure it out, you can take that 8 foot long and divide it off by 4. And I want to say it's right about 16.5 inches. And you get 6 cuts out of that board. What you end up with.
Oh, that's sweet.
You end up with 4 legs. And then you've got 2 pieces left over that can be your attachments to the front board and the back board. So you take one board, you cut it 6 times, equal length, and then all you do is you take the two, and you connect the front board and back board, and then the 4 other ones become the legs. And you can basically build a 4 hive stand for roughly $15 to $18.
Okay, yeah, that's a done deal. That is a done deal.
Yeah.
So
Now,
you said,
granted, the only thing is that I'm going to say this: the 2 hives that would be in the center, okay, eventually are going to get, if your beekeeping is successful, they could get heavy, okay. So at some point in time, the only curve with that design is the center, because you've got an 8-foot long setup,
right.
and weight may cause that to bend in the middle. So you might want to consider actually having a center support on it. But other than that, that's what I use. I'm looking out here at my yard, and I've got 3, 5, 6 of those stands set up with bees on them. So,
that would be something that maybe would be a great hack, or not even a hack. I don't know if that's that idea is specifically the guy who showed you that, or on the Facebook page or something.
right. Be glad to take them. And if I can, I'll try to make like a little short video on that we can post on the Be Smart page, and be able to share that with everybody.
Perfect.
That would be awesome.
What do you think, shall we? What else? We've talked about stands and.
Better catch him before he falls asleep.
I use cinder blocks. I'm on slabs a lot of my hives. And then I had the flooring of a grain bin. And I think they're 8 inches wide. And I have them 10 foot to 22 foot long. And I just set cinder blocks up underneath them and lay 2 of them on top of them and set my boxes on top of that. I'm doing some like what Yappy's doing, but I'm gonna go ahead and plywood the top all the way, and I'm gonna make bottoms. My little runners. That way I could just set a box on top. It's gonna be permanent. I don't have to have a bottom board or nothing, because the whole platform is gonna be a bottom board.
Oh.
That's
Okay, so
work on this year.
He's dealing with lots and lots of hives, though, Anthony.
right.
That's why that would be advantageous to his setup.
Okay, with that being said, onto the ground. Okay, so I've got my stands,
right,
and I've got the ground, the ground right underneath, directly underneath my hives. Now, to help keep the small hive beetle population down, what do you guys separately or use or recommend as far as ground cover, so that the small hive beetle pupae don't?
I keep mine in full sun. I would try to keep them in full sun to help them out if you can.
Okay.
Obviously, a harder substrate that they can penetrate is more advantageous than a softer substrate. So
Okay.
if you have an option, go with the harder substrate. That's why hives on
What's a substrate?
the ground.
He's pulling $3. I didn't hear you call him on the $3 words.
That's why keeping them. We actually get flack sometimes for keeping bees on concrete slabs.
Yeah.
I've had a few people say you should never do that, and that's mind-boggling, because there's advantages there. Okay, so also I've kept them on hard red clay as well, just right on the hard red clay. They're not going to, because if it's hard for you to penetrate it, okay, if you need a pickaxe or whatever, it's going to be hard for those beetles as well. So if you have a choice, pick an area where that substrate's harder than softer. But people get creative. They can put down shells or plastic, things like that. Just keep that in mind.
Well, that actually brings up a topic that has recently come up in regards to there was a lot of talk, and when I first met Xiaowei and through the course of the last few years, the conversations come up about him having his hives on the concrete. And there was Jamie. There's a guy named Jamie Ellis. He's scientist doctor at I think it's University of Florida, but I know he comes out of Florida, and he would made a reference to studying small hive beetles. And so you picture that he's walking into this building that has a few floors, and as he walks up the stairs to enter the building, here's this larva literally walking down the front steps. And he starts to watch and is following it and goes up the stairs and down the hallway, and it's coming out of his office / laboratory. And the story behind it is he was doing a study on small hive beetles. In doing that study, he made a mistake in closing up something, and the larvae had hatched out and was in that process of going to find dirt to get into so that they could do their normal process up. That being said, he said, so the thought that, trying to put stuff on some things that are the harder aren't always the right. So I'm not trying to go against, JP Xiaowei and their thought process and what's worked for them, because I also believe that especially in Xiaowei's situation and where he's at with heat, that there will become a temperature issue where those small hive beetles will actually dry up, die, because they couldn't get to the dirt quick enough. So I'm kind of throwing that. Wait, say it again, shall we?
That it pop like popcorn on that hot sun.
Yes, exactly. So for those that don't have that, my bees are literally sitting in the side yard. They will come out and go straight into dirt. So one option that was discussed on one of the boards in a group was that somebody was using borax to put around the hive base so that the larva had to go through there. Now, I don't know the scientific behind it, but I wanted to throw that one out there for the discussion, because it's a great topic, because we all have issues with small hive beetles. So what says you guys?
Well, if you're going to be proactive and put something out for them, remember, if the bees can get to it, then they can have problems. Borax, the way it works, if you talk about something that's a stomach poison, so it has to be ingested. So if bees get it on them and they ruin themselves, it could kill them. So you hear about people using, corrugated pieces of cardboard, things like that, and they'll put borax in there, or roach bait gel, things like that, and they say they have success with it. Of course, my opinion is strong hives will deal with small hive beetles. So,
nice.
If you have too much space, that you're opening up a can of worms right there. And so if you got too much, let's say your bees swarm, you got 4 boxes, and now you had bees in every box, and now they've swarmed a couple of times, and you got bees in one of those boxes, and you got a bunch of drawn comb. That's when parasites can go nuts. So you reduce the amount of boxes and condense their efforts again, and as they if they build up, then you can graduate them again. But they'll deal with them as long as the beetles can't get the upper hand. So keep them strong really is the way to go.
I agree.
Goes kind of. I was going to say that we were having an organic beekeeping class last night, and Tony was talking about, as far as helping your colonies out, just helping with different vectors of attack. So it's not just one thing, like just covering the ground. It's not just, and it's definitely not about the any treatment that goes with outside of what were those parameters. Never mind.
You're talking about for the IPM?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the treatment and the economic thresholds.
I was talking about before you get to the economic threshold.
It's your
and
prevention.
the treatment.
It's your prevention point where you're putting different control measures, your environmental, your mechanical, physical, biological, all of those you set up in advance so that you never get to the point of your economic threshold.
Right. And getting to that point, going back to what JP said about strong hives will handle the small hive beetles. So I guess I'll have to make sure my hives are strong, or my
Somewhere.
That's a fact. It will, they will control them,
I mean, you have different schools of thought as far as using products in the hive or not, and without getting carried away into that topic, because that's that opens up a lot of room for debate. But whatever you do, remember, if you're using products that you could be potentially breeding super parasites. So my background being in the pest control field, I know all about resistance. So that's why I try to avoid using any products. Let the bees try to beat bees.
and letting the bees be bees is more than just throwing bees in a box, right?
Well, that's well, you really, like I said, there's different schools of thought. Okay, but a guy years ago on one of the bee forums, this guy Brian Bray, old timer, used to say, try to keep your bees as feral as possible. So basically,
Ooh, I like that.
you're allowing the bees to be bees. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
One of the things that
Gotcha.
I like to put out to people when it comes to that, because I describe myself as an organic beekeeper. That's the practices that I follow. I like the small colonies give them that small space and to manage things better. But I always like to tell people that you get to a point where if you get the bees healthy enough, it's the bee's job to handle the nest. It's the beekeeper's job to handle the hive and the outside environment. We do the things that help minimize the necessary environmental stresses. The bees should be tough enough, strong enough, healthy enough, populous enough to handle what goes on inside the nest. That's the goal for me when I say I want to get my bees to the point where they're populous, they're healthy, they're strong, they're in a space that can be managed by them. All I have to worry about is the hive and the environment around them so that I can mitigate those outside factors. That's the way I look at it. That's my approach.
But keep in mind, you know, geographically geographically speaking, it works in one area. It's not always gonna
Oh, exactly.
another area. So inevitably, people want an outline of exactly what to do, but a lot of times you have to find your way in this, and you kind of have to gel with the bees and find out what's working for them and what works for you. Inevitably, that's part of the lore of beekeeping. That's there's a lot of mysteries that you're gonna have to. Um, yeah, I mean, even moving a hive like these removals we do, even moving a hive maybe to a new location that's 75, 100 yards, I mean 100 miles away. Those bees, I've seen them where they had to go through an adjustment. It's almost like a shock to the system. They're working stuff they've never even come in contact with before. So not everything that works in my area is going to work in your area. And you
Right.
deal with different gene pool too. Like Yappy's area, there's a lot of commercial bees, and there's lots of issues with mites, and so he's having to deal with that. Whereas our feral population, we don't quite have the mites because, of course, we're not exposed to a lot of commercial bees either. But anyway, just something to keep in mind with that.
All right, so Anthony, you got your boxes set up and you're ready to get that part approached, but you mentioned the fact that you have a fireman friend that's going to be giving you some or you're working out a deal to get some of his hives. So you're actually falling into being an established beekeeper very quickly. All right, and you're coming into it right here at the first of your spring and what's going to happen for you. So in your thought process, what have you thought about what you want, where you want that one particular hive to grow to, and do you have the boxes to back that idea up? Because I ask that because we never know what our flow is going to be. So let's say that you get out there and you have that great flow season. Are you understanding how to keep up with the bees and giving them the spaces needed? And do you feel you have the equipment on hand to accomplish that?
I don't think I have. I know I don't have enough equipment to accomplish what I want. Um, and actually, yeah, you're right. Since I don't know what the flow is going to be, um, my goals are basically to have my hives make it through the first winter. That's my
Right.
goal. That being said,
Right.
I don't have all the equipment I'm going to need, but I mean, my thing is, I'm pretty much going to take because he said the price for his hives, he's just giving them to me. We've known each other and worked together for years. So I'm
Right.
taking any and everything he's had. Um, and, you know, what I can make work. So hopefully I will have enough equipment to where in Virginia, I mean, eventually I want to do honey production in
Okay.
Virginia.
Okay.
And that's
So,
what I was bringing up earlier in the discussion,
yeah.
Antnee.
Say that again.
That's what I was bringing up. That's what I brought up early in the discussion. To make sure you have enough. But hey, if you get in a situation where you got congestive issues, no one being part of a local bee club is where they can help you. If you don't have enough equipment, you can do some splits with them, some mini splits, alleviate your numbers
Right.
to keep
Okay.
coming out on you and stuff like that. But that's definitely an option you have to pursue if you don't have enough woodenware to grow your hives in.
Now,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony. If I remember right, you're not getting like fully populated hives from this guy. You're just getting the equipment.
Oh yeah. I'm just getting the equipment.
Okay.
Okay. I
Yeah, I'm
thought they
sorry.
had bees in them.
I'm still in that phase of using. Yeah, I'm still getting the terms hive, colony, boxes. I'm using them interchangeably. Yeah, and I haven't got it perfected.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well,
I will be getting the equipment. I will be getting my choice of the woodenware.
Okay, what about the bees
okay.
themselves? What are you doing to attain them?
I'm buying nukes.
Okay.
Starting with nukes. Got a couple nukes I'm buying from Tony.
Okay.
Actually, because I went and checked. I mentioned this earlier. I went and checked out Lucy. That box looks so good. I mean, it for
You
being
guys met
practiced
Lucy when you
time
were
this
here.
winter. Yeah, we got the video up on where is it?
The
It's on
JP and
Facebook.
Shawi, they were here the last time. They took you in the back. You saw Lucy.
I've been hearing about Lucy for the last couple of years, I believe.
She's my sweetheart, man. Just my little girl. She's my Valentine.
Oh Lord, don't get him started.
Yeah,
Please
I
don't
didn't know.
get him started.
Yeah, I didn't understand the whole, Lucy thing and this, all these names. And just for all those that are kind of coming in here and didn't know this, Tony, he names all of his hives
I do.
with the lady's name or names his queen. So
No,
when you're
I name my
talking about Lucy,
hives, and each hive is
okay,
named
that name,
after the name of a girl from a Rocky song. It's simple.
okay,
Lucy is from Lucy in the
well,
Sky with Diamonds. She's awesome.
there you go. So,
She's a rock
I mean, you got
goddess.
to throw that in.
I had Susie Q before too. She's not there no more. Not in that yard.
One of my best is Caroline. So I played a little song for Sweet Caroline every time I go in the box
Sweet.
with her.
I like that song.
Hey, that's funny. Last night
Yeah.
we had one of the other students asked, "Do bees react to heavy metal?"
She knows I have a penchant for heavy metal music. So she's seen me talk about that and post things. So she asked, how do bees like your heavy metal? They're like, they don't like it.
But I tell you what, Tony, if you come to my bee yard and you play heavy metal, I think they're gonna carry your back off
Oh, they'll do it in my backyard too. They don't like heavy metal.
I play country music with my bees. When I put my truck, I open my doors up and I crank the country music.
Which basically, what you're saying is they all turn around and they start crying in their own honey and their mead, and they sit there and they hate their lives and they wish that they would just all something happen to them.
But that's why they don't sting me.
Exactly.
They're so depressed they don't want to sing.
They done lost their home.
There you
They
go,
lost
folks.
their
The
dog.
Sha Wee method of keeping bees docile. Just get them depressed and drunk.
That's why all his drones continually going west. All his exes live in Texas.
Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, you funny man. Get back to the program.
Let's see. What else is going on this spring?
Oh, talking about.
Well, y'all brought up, if you don't mind me interjecting, y'all brought up something though, as far as sounds go. Okay. So, I mean, my opinion with it is, bees don't hear like we do. They pick up on vibrations a lot. And so let's talk about, weed eating or cutting your grass around your hives, Anthony.
Okay.
Okay. So what I do is I'll give them a little smoke before I cut anywhere near. And, I always say a little bit of smoke goes a long way. So, and I mean that if you suit up to the hilt and you got bees, stinging your outfit, you're not getting stung, but you're killing your bees.
Okay.
So give them some smoke before you weed eat or work a lawnmower or a tractor.
Okay, so smoke's not just for when you're opening up the hives. So you just to clarify, you're recommending it anytime you're going to work around your hives, even if it's lawn care.
The main thing smoke does is it interferes with their ability to utilize a lawn pheromone. Okay, so whenever you fool with them, if for whatever reason they might want to get defensive, that smoke is going to help mask that lawn pheromone. So whether you're opening it or you're working a weed eater or driving a tractor, in front of your hives. So that's what I do. I give them a little smoke, and then that usually keeps them at bay.
Well, what do you prefer? Because when I got my kit from Dayton, it also included, fuel wise for the smoker.
It really doesn't matter. Any fuel that burns puts out a cool smoke. You don't want probably I mean, there's not too much out there that won't work. But like you wouldn't want to use pine bark because it's got the resins in it. I mean, they make turpentine out of bark. I don't know if you ever. Well, you're a fireman. I don't know if you've had a fool with pine before, but if you got a fire going,
and
you want some additional heat right off, throw some pine on there. But pine needles, I use those a lot. But so any kind of fuel really will work. But pine needles, they work pretty well. Burlap, a lot of people use. If you're using pellets, usually you need to get some embers going before you add the pellets. In my experience, anyway, because the pellets they can be hard to like.
Okay.
Well, Tony had brought up here not long ago. Oh, sorry. The joy of having the five of us in a little delay. Go ahead, shall we? I apologize.
I said I use behavior. Even JP, he used to hate the smell of grass. He always tell me, I hate the smell of grass.
I said that.
That's what he did.
What you talking about?
But you know what he told me happened? Towards the end of this, man, I need a bag of that grass.
Yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, I did.
I fill up my smoker that morning. That evening when we left, it was still burning.
That's a fact. I got a bag of it coming late this season. I was that impressed with it. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I agree with you, JP. I like to use pine needles as my best preferred because it gives a good, thick, dense cloud, and there again, less is more. You don't need to use as much as a thin, wispy kind of smoke. It just works. You get more out of more bang for your buck, so to speak, because it's thicker. It's also a nice, cool smoke. It doesn't heat up too much. So I'm a big fan of pine needles.
But if you do have access to Bahia grass, I'm not gonna lie, man, I'm impressed with it. Um, that's some good stuff, and it's quite different than just some of the regular grass is quite different. If you ever had a cut Bahia grass, you ever had to, you'll see firsthand how it's different.
But if you cut it with a lawnmower, it chops it too fine, and it won't have to be from a bush hog. That a
Yeah,
lot.
but I got a question.
What?
Your little
Okay,
Darth
ask me.
Vader gizmo that you puff smoke through. Have you ever tried puffing that smoke on the bees?
I actually, that's funny that you asked that. I have not, and I'm going to this year. I want to know what flavor my girls prefer to be vaped on,
Hawaiian Tropic,
and also
coconut.
Hawaiian Tropic. Well, see, you've got the custardy taste, and then you've got the sweet taste. And I'm afraid that if I turn around and go and blow some of the sweet, fruity flavors on them, I'm going to get eat up. But the custard stuff, I think, would chill them out because every time I go down to JP's and I get me a pecan La Freeze, it chills me out just as good. So I'm going to probably go with the custardy flavor. But that's a whole other story.
Custard.
Well,
Kathy says custard.
you were talking, yes, custard. Tony and I had a conversation not long ago about the hive when it's closed up having their sense, smells, communications all going on, and when we open the hive, it takes and it disrupts that to a point to where all of that communication pheromone now just runs itself out the top, and it confuses all the bees, and it becomes hard for them to communicate. The pine straws or the smokes help disrupt that while they're in the hive and we're not opening it up. So that initial walk up to your hive and puff a little bit of smoke in there has totally disrupted the balance of communication in the hive to start with. So now when you go walking past there with your lawnmower or your weed eater, they're less apt to turn around and have that communication to turn around and go, hey, something's out there vibrating. It's got some exhaust smell from the gasolines, and we need to find out what this is because it's causing us a problem, and we're going to go whoop them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind
It
of like
makes a
what
lot of
JP was
sense.
saying. That
Yeah.
one of the pheromones they use to communicate is the alarm pheromone, and in a hive there'll be X number of bees on guard duty, so to speak. And when they see a threat or determine there's a threat, they release this guard pheromone and call in the National Guard for backup, so to speak. Okay, when you put the smoke in, it inhibits that. It covers or masks that scent, so they can't call in the backup as well. So that
Right.
communication factor, by clouding that, you're disrupting that. You're covering it up.
Right. I was just throwing a little bit of Tom Seeley and Tony Sandoval in there to add to it.
Well, see, you got to
anyway,
roast people up. Tom Seeley's good advice, and then I'm just going to go screw it all up.
Well, by the time it filters down to me, you might as well just hang it up.
Well, since you brought that subject up, though, okay, don't get the wrong idea that when you smoke your bees, you disrupt them to such a degree where the queen's going to stop laying. They're going to eat all their honey. You hear stuff like that, and some beekeepers sort of avoid using smoke, and they'll try to use stuff like spearmint water and all this stuff. Okay, but the smoke, it'll disrupt their ability to communicate a little bit. But when you go into the hive, for the most part, they're going to ignore you and they're going to be working. Okay, so don't get the wrong idea, because you'll hear all kinds of different ideologies when it comes to beekeeping. That's one of them. That's a misnomer about smoke disrupting them to such a degree,
right?
Where they suffer great setbacks. I don't agree with that at all.
Well, like part of the class that I did last night, I brought this up where you have to kind of make compromises, because if you go out there and you agitate a hive enough, you're going to get them so wound up, so aggressive, so defensive. They're going to be so stressed. They're going to cause more damage to themselves through getting into just all wound up. Whereas by putting a little bit of smoke in there, we'll get them a little bit confused, messed up, whatever, but not nearly risking the level of without using the smoke. So I'd rather give them a little bit of disruption than just boatloads of disruption. It's minimizing the effect.
Oh, I've seen hives that would have just went nuts, become very defensive, and just pissed off. And you give them a little smoke, and they calm down, and I mean it's a different insect altogether.
Yep. Well, guys, we're looking at the time already. Time flies when we're having fun.
Cool.
I did want to add that our buddy, the newest hooligan on the crew, Dean Stiglitz, we had him on the show recently, and he's going to be joining us semi-regularly when he gets his schedule open. But he couldn't be here today. He had some other plans, but we're thinking about you, Dean. So we're looking forward to having you fit in the near future. And as always, I think you guys are awesome for being here and just tossing some chat around and having some fun. Any last parting shots, quotes, anything like what's on your mind?
Oh, get ready. Spring's coming.
It's on its way.
Blackberries
What was that,
starting
Shel?
to bloom.
Gotcha. Shoot. Well, I'm looking forward to a lot of activity. I'm looking forward, I'm looking forward to applying the things that I've been learning.
Well, that's the thing. You get like you've been doing it all winter and learning about it. Now you get to the point you get to do it.
Yeah. Now I'll actually have some bees, and I can at least call myself a hobbyist for real. Just to begin with.
Anything?
No. Well, I'm. For those up north that are listening to this, you're probably right there at the edge of spring starting to happen for you. I hope that you got all your boxes ready. Start out with your management plans. You should have already done that, but have your plans for your season set up. Get everything put together, and just hold off. You're almost there. For those in the south, go check your swarm traps, because you probably have already got a few of them if you'd set them out. But I hope everybody's really geared up, ready to go. And I want to say from myself, I greatly appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. I hope you're enjoying it as much as we love laughing at each other.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, that kind of wrap it up. We're getting right at the end. We'll see y'all next week. We'll do it again. Have a good one.
Later.